Kelly, and joining me this morning to help break down what's making the rounds today, we have NBC's Gadi, Schwartz, and Dreyer, and Akbar Gbaja-Biamila, co-host of
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Hey guys. Is there anything I love more than that soundtrack? Okay, so welcome everybody. It is hard to believe, but would you believe that today marks 1 year since the Me Too movement really started to get rolling? It was October 5th of last year when the New York Times published its bombshell article detailing decades of allegations of sexual misconduct against Harvey Weinstein. You can't even hear that name anymore in the way you used to, right? At the time, he was one of the most powerful men in all of Hollywood, and to this day, he denies any non-consensual sex, but it's been over 100 women, right, who have come out against him. So much has happened this past year. In Weinstein's case, he was forced out of his own company. He now faces criminal charges. And that article opened the door for so many women and men who had previously felt powerless to come forward and tell their stories. You know, I have to say, that article really did start this movement. But in fairness, a year prior to that, the women of Fox News rose up against the CEO there, who was a king, and had our own Me Too movement and didn't get as much attention, I believe, because, you know, a lot of people don't like Fox. But I will tell you that for those of us who were part of that, for us, that's when it began. But the Harvey Weinstein article and the New York Times article really did get so much attention and take down such a powerful man that the country hasn't been the same since, right? So yeah. What do you think? Where are we a year into this?
Well, a year into it, I think we're more aware, and I think that's ultimately what the movement is about, is just bringing more awareness. Because once you're aware, it becomes more conscious, and I think it's changed the culture in which way men and women treat each other, especially when we talk about sexual misconduct. And so to me, if you're conscious about it, you're more aware of your actions.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I found is really inspiring is when you talk to Gen Z and when you talk to millennials about their outlook on this, they're very cognizant that their behavior could be documented at any time. Yeah. So they've got, you know, Snapchat, Instagram, social media, and so they're a little bit more aware of their behavior than I think prior generations.
Not one Gen Zer is ever going to be on the Supreme Court.
You don't think so?
I'm just saying, like, with the documentation of social media now, aren't you all so glad that when you were 16, you didn't have this, right? Right. So it must be very scary to be a young person.
Yes. Well, there are some kids that say that. There are some kids that say that they feel like they're growing up in the public eye, like they're politicians' kids, but they're not politicians' kids. They're just normal kids that go to high school. Right. But that's their philosophy. Wow. Their way of living life is constantly under scrutiny, and so they try to behave. There's a lot of good Gen Z kids out there.
And that's so true because, I mean, I feel like I'm guilty of putting my son, who's not even 2 yet, out there. I post adorable things on social media, you know, and it's like, I need to do a check of myself. When am I going to stop doing that? Mm-hmm. When, not that he doesn't have an opinion now, but when
bring privacy back.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring
because
privacy.
I don't know, I get a lot of likes when I post a Calvin video, you know, so it's selfish of me, but I also want to share him. Mm-hmm. But I need to know when does he get his privacy back?
I was going to say, so I have a 17-year-old who's getting ready to go into college, and we've had these discussions at home now, and I didn't think I was going to be having these types of discussions, but one of the discussions I was telling him, like, hey, look, keep your virginity, stay true to your Christian values, because you're seeing what's happening now. You go out there and you're having sex and you're doing it and you're talking about you're living it up in college. Well, all that can come back and haunt you. It can come back and say, hey, look, it was consensual. No, you know what? 20 years later, it wasn't consensual. That's so all of a sudden now, like, you got to really hold true to that. Otherwise, you can get attacked.
It's scary. It's got, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. While this year has been a reckoning for women in America, it's also got to be a scary time to be a man. Because you have to worry about, like, where exactly is the line? And we all know rape is not okay. Sure. And grabbing a woman against her consent is not okay. But, you know, back in my day, when a man you were dating or, you know, you had a date with wanted to kiss you, he'd just kiss you. You know, he would just hold you. And there was no asking for permission or, you know, like you either went along with it, that was your permission, or you said no and pulled away and that was your no. But today, I mean, you tell me, is it scary to be a man?
I'm so glad that you're saying that because, you know, it's become a political issue. And we can't have conversations, just normal conversations like this, without somebody jumping in and saying, wait. And then you've got the president who weighs in and says, I don't believe this woman, or it's a scary time to be boys these days. And then it becomes a political issue. So it's nice to be able to talk about that.
He's the worst spokesperson for it.
Yeah, well,
He is. It's true, because like he is on tape saying you can grab women by the genitals and get away with it if you're famous. Like, just stop talking, all right? Because you're not the spokesperson for men, and you're not the spokesperson for women that women are going to listen to on this issue.
Yeah, Megyn, I'd also say, too, the responsibility, too, is also on Hollywood. Hollywood's been very vocal about this, but yet, I still have to tell my kids, close your eyes, close your eyes.
Right.
I want to show them something, but yet, certain scenes, in fact, a lot of scenes, in fact, I might go out and say all scenes show the man just going in for the kiss like you're talking about. There's no asking permission or how should you choose.
But
you
do
see
we
that
want
model
that? Here's
over
my
and over.
question. Here's my question. Do we want that? Now, I've been married for 10 years to my husband, but if I were out in the dating world, I think it would be kind of weird to have before every move, because they're saying that verbal consent now isn't just before the first kiss. It's before every progressive move along the way toward sha-la-la. And
so how do you even
I don't know. I do think that women can also, they can have agency and they can go for it until they're no longer comfortable and then say, that's about as far as I want to go.
But these blurred lines are making it confusing in the dating world. So I almost want to tell my son, just wait till you get married. Just say, I like you. You want to get married? Okay, let's do it.
If you could just put it in writing right here.
Especially dating within the workplace too. I married my husband, who was my cameraman when we worked in Boston. And when we first started...
Guilty.
I know. When we first started dating, we're like, do we need to talk to HR? And we did, and they're like, yeah, no, this is fine. You guys are going out having some drinks and having fun, and and everything was fine. But
well, that's the thing. So I mean, and the Me Too movement really was born of the office place or of the workplace setting, where people who are in powerful positions were taking advantage of those without the power.
Right.
But it's sort of crept over into the dating world too, and we've seen, and in some cases that's good, because a lot of not just men, but some women in some cases are getting inappropriate and thinking that they were entitled. But the Me Too movement started in situations where the power dynamic was like this, and women had kept quiet for far too long because of that dynamic. I think we've made amazing strides this year, and it has been an empowering year for women. I do think we need men as our partners if this movement is to continue, and if we're going to achieve true gender equity. And one of the keys of that is looking at our male friends through generous eyes and enveloping them in this and making sure they get due process, and not just saying that they're all liars and we're all truth tellers, because that's not always the case.
But at the same time, the pendulum that started with people like you coming forward at Fox, or the Brock Turner case over in California, that's built up to the Me Too movement. And that's a pendulum swing. And I think that if the pendulum reaches its apex and swings back the other way, it can't be men that are moving that pendulum back. It has to be women. And we would defer to you on when that pendulum
because people are going to accuse you of being a sexual assault apologist if you're out there saying, hold on. And that's why men are in a difficult position right now in a way.
So we'll just sit and...
And the other thing, too,
and root for goodness.
I will say this, though. Women aren't the only one that are being sexually assaulted. There are men who are being sexually assaulted by women in the workplace. But it's not talked about, because for us, if I'm being sexually assaulted by a woman, if I go to her, like, you're the man, you're supposed to like that, you're supposed to want that, and so the man sits quiet and it never goes reported, and so on. It makes the man out there looks like we're 100%. The sexual predators.
I tried a case like that when I was practicing law, where my client fired a woman who'd been sexually harassing the men in the workplace. And the client was arguing, she got fired for cause. You should have seen what she was doing to the men. And we really had to work to convince the jury that a woman can be the harasser, and ultimately they sided with us. And then there's Terry Crews, who's talked openly about getting sexually assaulted by a male agent, and how his sort of macho nature was kind of stopped him at first from saying, I have been victimized here.